Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. I know this is a little bit late, but I thought it'd be fun if we did a wrap-up post-event, specifically the Duelist Cup, for my Adventure Marincess deck. I was flipping through a couple different decks trying to figure out what's the best one we're going to use. I wasn't particularly going for first place just because that requires to be up for 3 days straight, and I cannot do that. But yeah, so we flipped through a couple decks. Of course, the tier 1 deck at the time was Adventure Prank Kids. I also wanted to try DDD, and of course the Adventure Marincess deck I ended up sticking with. DDD was a lot of fun, but that deck did end up going to time quite a lot, and I gotta win, you know, so it took a bit of a backseat. Overall thoughts for the Marincess deck was it's a strong rogue deck, right? Specifically because of the adventure package. Marincess's biggest problem is if you stopped the normal summon, without the new support coming soon, by the way, can't wait for that, the deck just dies. It dies unless you have a 1-for-1 or a Monster Reborn. Now it's not going to cut it. So the adventure package really gives us a good opportunity to not only block stuff like Nibiru or Ash, it allows us to extend our plays past the normal summon depending on your hand, right? So with that said, I think we've waited long enough. Let's go ahead and get to the feature matches. What do you say? Going into game 1 here, we do have Marincess versus Prank Kids. Looking at the hand, the Marincess core isn't too great. We can only get so much off it, but we have absolutely full combo for the Adventure Engine, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. We're going to use Foolish to banish off the Aqua Actress, and that will add the Rite of Error's Mirror. We're going to go ahead and activate the Rite of Error's Mirror to grab the token and the Faithful Adventure. And from here, we're just going to keep extending as far as we can for the Adventure Engine and kind of see what we can do from there. So Faithful Adventure, we'll grab the Draco back. Fantastic. We can now use Faithful Adventure here, grab a second Water Enchantress, discard the Draco back. You want to make sure with Adventure you specifically discard the Draco back so that you can equip it, so you're losing no card advantage, right? We're going to normal summon off the passive list here. Now, normally, with the current support with Marincess, if you just have Pasculus, it is a brick, right? You can only do so much there. You can do what you're seeing now. You can summon Blue Slug. Blue Slug grabs Pasculus so you don't lose advantage, and then you pass. Now, fortunately, because the Adventure Engine, and we already had the Wandering Griffin Rider in hand, we can special out the Aqua Enchantress, which will link us off into the Coral Anemone. So because we have the Adventure Engine, not only were we able to do our regular plays, but now we can extend past what we could because we had the Wandering Griffin Rider in hand. So with that, we're going to go ahead and go for a Link 3 here. The Coral Anemone plus the Blue Slug is going to grab us the Marbled Rock. Now, normally you'd want to find a way to get to your Battle Ocean, but the choice was either go for the Blue Slug to grab back or the Sea Slug to grab the Battle Ocean. Here, we're just going to go for Battle Protection, keep it simple. We do have the Wandering Griffin Rider in hand, and we have the Marincess Wave to stop a monster effect. Now, going against Prank Kids, we're going to go ahead and start off by linking off to the Meow Meow. The thing with Prank Kids, as strong as this deck is, if you Ash the very first Prank Kid, unless they have Prank Kid's Pranks in their hand, there is absolutely no way they can extend. So unfortunately, my opponent had no way to stop this Ash Blossom here. They're going to set one and pass. Looking fantastic for us in this position right here. We are going to go ahead and draw for turn, Forbidden Droplet. Great, just another one more card. Draco back will return the Meow Meow. I don't want Meow Meow in the graveyard just because if I cannot win this turn, it does give them a way to Raigeki pop with the Battle Butler, which we do want to try to prevent. Now this time, we do have the Pasculus, which will go into Sea Angel. Our opponent will Ash Blossom that. That's perfectly okay. Again, one of the best parts about Marincess, it's so easy to eat up hand traps, right? As long as we have the buys on board, we can keep doing stuff. Marbled Rock here, we will grab the Pasculus. Our opponent is going to Call by the Grave. Kind of a dying breath right here. Not really a point of doing Call by the Grave besides just 1-for-1 a card. We didn't lose any card advantage here, and we have so much damage on board. We can pretty much go for game. Not quite, actually. One thing we can do, though, Link 3 plus Link 1 equals Link 4. That will give us the access code. So again, the thing with Marincess, a lot of the cards do lock you into water, but I specifically made sure that there was no cards that lock us in the water. So with that said, we can go into access code, writings on the wall, our opponent sees what's going to happen, and they will surrender. On to the next game. Looking back at that game, I did say for Prank Kids the #1 priority is to prevent the Ash so that you can keep bringing out Prank Kids from your deck, which is 100% true. And looking again at what my opponent did, they had Called By in hand because they set it to play on my turn the next turn. So why they didn't play it, I'm not really 100% sure. I'm probably guessing the biggest reason why is they had their own Ash they were saving and they didn't want to quite Called By, because Called By does prevent for the next turn as well. So Ash is a dead card But with that said, if you don't Ash it, you have a Meow and that's it. And you just pass, you know? So, and I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I believe that was a misplay from my opponent. So if you guys think the same, please let me know. Anyway, on to the next match. Alright, going into game 2 right here, I am going first against Grand Manju. Fortunately, I am going first, and looking at this hand, by the way, this hand's absolutely cracked for going first. I have the full adventure combo, and Pasculus plus Blue Tang in a hand in particular means you can do anything you want with Marincess. So we're going to do our typical adventure stuff. We're going to banish the Rite of Air's Mirror to, my bad, the Water Enchanted to grab the Rite of Air's Mirror, which will get us a token, Fateful Adventure. We're going to summon the Blue Tang. Because we activated Rite of Air's Mirror, we cannot use Blue Tang's effect to dump, but that's fine, that's perfectly okay. One thing that's fantastic about this deck is, while yes, the normal summon of Blue Tang to dump one from deck to grave is strong, it's not required, right? So anyway, with that said, we can go ahead and just keep popping off at this point. We're going to go ahead and link off the Blue Slug. We do have Wandering Griffin Rider on field, which means if our opponent does nib us, we can negate it. At the moment, and honestly this will be true post new support coming out next month as well, this deck's biggest weakness are two cards, Max C and I can't think right now, the Max C and the Nibiru. So best part about Wandering Griffin Rider is if you can play this, you can consistently block the nib going first before summon 5. Typically you get it out around summon 3, summon 4. Yeah, anyway, at this point we're just going to keep comboing off. We're going to link off the Seahorse into the Sea Angel that will grab us the Battle Ocean here. I do have the Mandarin in hand, so I can extend one more Marincess body on here, which means I can get the Invincible Marincess card, and that's what matters right now. So the goal right now is to get my untargetable card off the Battle Ocean by doing a link 2 for the Crystal Heart. We're going to do that by summoning out the Coral. Coral will grab the Sea Slug from Grave, and we bring out the Mandarin here. We're going to go for our link 2 into the one and only Crystal Heart. This card currently, Crystal Heart, its main purpose is to make all your Marincess big bosses untargetable with the Battle Ocean, right? And while in this particular build, which I will show later, is good, it's not really necessary for the new support. Which, by the way, when the new support comes out, you can bet your butt I'm going to be showing a full showcase on how to play the deck, different combos you can do, the different ceiling. Deck's going to be strong. Cannot wait for it. Anyway, here Chain is going to resolve. Battle Ocean will equip 2. Normally, you do want to equip 3, but we do have the Impermanent hand we do want to set just for one more interruption, because as many interruptions as possible, that is the goal for this deck, right? So we are going to go ahead and send the Seahorse to Grave to bring back the banished Mandarin. While this isn't required, it does mean if we can get bodies back on board, we can bring the Mandarin back, right? So, off the standby phase, we use the Great Bubble Reef to banish a Marincess to draw a card. We do top deck the Harpy's Feather Duster. Our opponent is going to go for the Golden Castle of Stromberg. So at this point, I know he's playing Grand Manju, which I'm sweating a little because this deck is so good at going first. Our opponent's going to start off with Interrupting Kaiju Slumber. I am going to use the Griffin right here because it does force the negate, because if not, it will tribute every monster but my, what's it called? Besides the Great Bubble Reef. And right now, I really need the Great Bubble Reef on board. Our opponent is then going to use Pot of Desires, banishing 10, going to really beef up the Grand Manju to draw 2 cards here. The Golden Castle of Stromberg will bring out one of the, what is this card again? Oh my goodness, Hextrude. Hextrude will pop a spell or trap that will get rid of the Draco back, unfortunately. Our opponent's going to do Million of Eaters. And one of the best parts about playing this deck, for those of you who don't know, is, again, if you link up with Crystal Heart, your monsters become untargetable. You would be surprised how many people on ladder don't read both Crystal Heart and the Battle Ocean. So my opponent with Eater of Millions did try to attack into the Great Bubble Reef and just didn't read it. And because of that, it lived. They lost a ton of life points. My opponent is going to Danger Thunderbird here and overlay into a rank 8. They will go into the Dingirsu. So Dingirsu here, if they target the Bubble Reef, good. If they target the Battle Ocean, not good. It is non-targeting, by the way, so I can't risk it. I have to flip the Infirm here. So at this point, unfortunately, I am out of interruptions, but as long as the Battle Ocean's on board, I'll be feeling pretty good about this. End phase, my opponent is going to bring out the Alpha Master of Beast. Nothing I have to really worry about. From here, I can use Great Bubble Reef's effect again to banish the Pasculus and draw a card. And remember, if Pasculus is normal or special, you get to use this effect here. This is why Great Bubble Reef can be seen as such a strong card, is if you can't out it, or specifically your opponent can't out it, you gained 3 cards off this just by going, you use the effect to banish a water to draw a card. Doing this twice over the course of 2 turns is insanely strong. Here, we're just going to keep extending. We're going to use the Rite of Era's Mirror to grab the Adventure token. We're going to use the Fateful Adventure to grab the Griffin Rider and discard a card here. We don't really need Call by the Grave. If they have Nib, they got it, but I have the, what's it called? I do have my untargetable Link 4 here, so not a problem at all. I'm going to go ahead and summon out the Blue Tang. Again, can't use the effect because we played Rite of Era's Mirror. We're going to go ahead and go into Blue Slug. Blue Slug's effect, I can grab one more Marincess and add it back to my hand. At this point, I'm trying to see the best potential way to game. I could bounce the Dingirsu, but right now the biggest problem is the field spell. If I don't out the field spell, my monsters can't attack, and that's going to be a problem going long term. One of the best parts about Grand Manju is they have so many going second cards, so many board breaking cards. So right now, the top priority, out the field spell. We're going to go ahead and link off the Blue Slug and the Seahorse to go into Coral. Coral will let us revive here. Yes, sir. We're going to bring back the Sea Angel. And at this point, I'm trying to get the biggest board possible. If I can out something, fantastic. I will go ahead and go to Link 3 Marbled Rock here. Marbled Rock will grab, but not before I use Coral's effect to grab the Blue Tang back to hand. Marbled Rock, yes, we are going to target the Seahorse. I don't believe we use the effect to extend here, so let's see if I have. I will use Feather Duster, and my opponent will protect with Ningirsu here. Oh, does he not? Okay, he does, he does. I almost forgot. I was going to say, he better protect with Ningirsu. That field spell's king. Anyway, we're just going to bring back Pasculus. Pasculus here. Here you're really starting to see the ceiling of this deck and how much I can do. Just keeping the Bubble Reef on field and having the Pasculus banished, and again, bring the Blue Tang back to my hand, I can do so much here. I can use both these cards here to overlay into the Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark will bring out the Totally Awesome. The Toad is here. He is here to stay. We are going straight to battle. My opponent is going to use the field spell because it's mandatory. Luckily, don't forget, the Great Bubble Reef is unaffected by card effects. Unfortunately, because of the field spell, I can't do anything else. I do have to pass here. But looking at my board, it's so unbelievably strong. I would be, honest to God, shocked if he could break it. But with that said, let's see what my opponent could do. They are going to use Interrupting Kaiju Slumber to add another Kaiju to hand. I will go ahead and Griffin Rider that. I could have used Totally Awesome, but I want to use Griffin Rider specifically because Griffin Rider is searchable via next turn if I do have the Fateful Adventure. My opponent's going to go ahead and Glyph here to discard and add another copy of Golden Castle Strongberg. That's fine. All that means my opponent has one less card I have to deal with. They're going to use Golden Castle Strongberg to bring out a second copy of Glyph from the deck. Glyph will pop a spell or trap. Now, if they popped the Battle Ocean, they would have been in a heap of trouble. But again, I don't think they fully understand how the Battle Ocean and Crystal Heart work. So I'm getting a lot of good advantage off this. My opponent's going to go ahead and link off into the Nightmare Phoenix, discard a card to pop the Battle Ocean. This I will 100% Marincess Wave. Again, Toad would have been a decent option, but Marincess Wave, I can add it back from the graveyard to the hand thanks to the Marbled Rock. So these negates I'm doing, I can just add them back, right? Again, power of this deck, once you get past turn 2, the recursion is incredible. And, you know, I said it once and I'll say it again. The new support, the recovery ability this deck has is absolutely insane. Great Bubble Reef here. I'm just going to keep, extending, bring out the, bring out the Coral. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Link 3 here, go into the Transcode Talker. This will allow us to go into Access Code, and Access Code can pop the field spell, and this will pretty much wrap up the game. Sea Angel is out. We're going for a Link 4. Here comes the big boy himself, the Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker, I'm going to use the effect here to banish a Earth to pop a card here. Yep, there goes the Earth, and Heal Spell's gone. Great Bubble Reef will gain even more. Access Code Talker. At this point, we're just kind of playing with our food. We know we've already won the game. Clear board, nothing on field. Great Bubble Reef will gain more attack because of that, and I can swing with the Great Bubble Reef, and that will be the game. Good gains to my opponent. Again, just this deck's ability to recur, the ability to make everything untargetable, and the ability to negate and interrupt. It's strong. So with that said, great game for my opponent. Let's go to the last rematch. Last game here, bit of an interesting one. Again, we are playing the Adventure Marincess, and we are going up against Sky Striker. Now, looking at my hand, I have no Marincess, no Adventure. I have to get off this Signet Mining. If it's negated by any means, then I have to pass. I can't do anything. Luckily, my opponent had no interruption for Signet Mining. I can grab the Blue Tang. I will summon it, try to use the effect to dump. Opponent does have the Infinite Impermanence. Honestly, that's okay. Again, best part about this deck, it can eat up hand traps so well with the Marincess core. As long as you have bodies, you can keep doing stuff. specifically because we have multiple link ones. So we're gonna use Blue Tang's effect here, and we're gonna link off into the Blue Slug to add back. So our opponent is Valoring our Blue Slug. So what does this mean? This means that we have no other Marincess cards in hand. I can't add the Blue Tang back. Off the Blue Tang specifically, I have to get Seahorse. If I don't get Seahorse, I can't extend. We're gonna look at the top 3 cards. We have the Ash Blossom, we do have the Seahorse, and we have the Blue Tang. Now, because we have Seahorse and we've already eaten up 2 hand traps from our opponents, we can just combo off here. I will speed it up just a bit because we've already seen this combo a few times. We're going to grab the Sea Angel. Sea Angel will grab the Battle Ocean. We're going to link off into Splash Mage. Now, normally you would link off into the Coral Anemone to revive and try to go for a Link 3 or a Link 4, depending if you have an extra body or not. Here, I want to go for the guaranteed Link 4. And I'm going to do that by using the Splash Mage route, which will bring out the Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone brings out back the Splash Mage. Go to the Link 4, Great Bubble Reef. So at this point, all we are concerned about is card advantage here. As long as we have more cards than our opponent, we should be able to do stuff. I will equip 3 off the Battle Ocean, and then the Coral Anemone will grab the Blue Tang. I'm going to set the Forbidden Droplet and pass. One cool synergy with this deck as well is with Forbidden Droplet, you do have more cards to send off to negate other monsters on the field. Standby phase, we're going to use the Great Bubble Reef here to banish the Splash Mage. We don't need it anymore, and we draw a card into another Blue Tang. Blue Tang's interesting, nothing too crazy. Our opponent's going to summon out the Ray and link off into the Hayate. Hayate's fine, sure they can poke, but then our opponent activates Fusion Destiny, and I'm a little worried right here, because those of you who don't know, Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer in particular is so strong against Marincess. If Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer pops the Battle Ocean, the next turn pops your monster, recovery's ridiculously hard to do. Our opponent will swing in here. Main 2, waiting for them to pop. Yes, they do choose to pop. I'm forced to drop here because if they destroy the Battle Ocean, I can't do anything. On top of that, the Great Bubble Reef is not protected because I didn't use the Crystal Heart to bring it out. So our opponent's negated. So at this point, I'm looking at the field, I'm looking at my hand, and I'm telling myself, if he doesn't destroy your Phoenix Enforcer on the standby, I can Gamma Seal it, and then we'll be in a really good spot. Not totally winnable, but doable. I'm going to draw here. I'm going to use Standby Phase. I will use the Great Bubble Reef. I'm really hoping I can bait something out that's not the Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. I do gain. We do hit the main phase 1. Our opponent didn't use DBE. That is a Gamma Seal Kaiju right there. Oh, the sigh of relief of him not immediately doing that. Now, the reason why we do run exactly 1 copy of Gamma Seal, originally this deck, instead of the Signet Minings, I did have Small World, and Small World can search the Gamma Seal because everything's water, right? I did choose to go over Signet Mining in the long term before hitting this event. And the biggest reason why is because sometimes I don't have a monster in hand in particular, like you saw with this opening hand, actually. Signet Mining discards any cards, meanwhile Small World, you have to have a monster in particular. And honestly, it wouldn't have done much. But again, Gamma Seals can, it's come in so much handy, why not? So anyway, while this is all happening, I'm able to get out into an access code talker, not locking myself into water. Coral Anemone does grab the Seahorse back. Access code talker, I will gain up to 4,300. I wasn't able to go into the transcode first, unfortunately, but as long as access code can pop more stuff, that's fine. That's incredible. Access code here, we will banish the Coral, and we can go ahead and pop the back row just in case. It was a set Fusion Destiny, so great bluff by my opponent. Right now, I am going to go Call by the Grave so I can get rid of the Ray. If he's able to have Ray on the field starting next turn, the amount of advantage Sky Striker can accumulate off of 1 Ray is incredible. So I'm trying to prevent that. I will prematurely go for the Call by, get rid of the Ray. My opponent will send the Engage. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if sending Engage was the correct play because it does mean that he can't draw it. So if he has a way to go into the Kagari, then yes, great play. But if not, we're not sure. So Standby Phase, our opponent is going to draw. I am going to banish the Gamma Seal. Again, don't need the card. I'm going to draw the Pasculus, and I'll go ahead and beef myself up. Don't forget here that the Bubble Reef is not untargetable. It is completely vulnerable. This card right now just gains attack, and it can draw cards, essentially. Our opponent will set 2 and use Celestial to draw 2. We do Ash Blossom. So with that said, we have the Gamma Seal to get rid of the DPE, and we have the Ash Blossom to get rid of the draw 2. I'm feeling really confident right now. My opponent can't do nothing else, only 2 set cards and pass. So at this point, yes, I have the life point advantage and I have a ton more cards, but I have to be concerned about the 2 back rows. So at this point, I'm going to be messing around and doing some more combo stuff. I could swing for game, but if my opponent can stop whatever I'm doing going for game, I will be in a bad spot depending on the top deck, right? So right now, I'm trying to do as many combo parts as possible to bait out any back row. I'm going to go for the... Yep, go for the Link 4 here. No, not Link 4, Link 3 for the Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock, I will add, and I will add also off the Coral. Blue Tank does come back to hand. So at this point, I've already got so much on board. If he's got something, he's got something. Nothing interacted. I will use the access code to pop. I cannot destroy anything else besides access code talker, and I don't want to quite get rid of my access code talker yet. Marbled Rock, I will grab the Seahorse, and at this point, we will be going for game. Anything on the back row? I don't think so, and that's going to be the game. Great game to my opponent. The advantage off a Great Bubble Reef, I'm telling you, is incredible. Build is I'm trying to get as much value as possible out of Crossout Designator, and so with that said, there are a lot of different hand traps this deck can play around, but it's better if we prevent them, right? So with that said, we're running a lot of 2-ofs. We're going to run double Max C, double Ash Blossom, double Infinite Impermanence. We do run 3 copies of the Forbidden Droplet because this card is the best board breaker in the game. Again, so the biggest reason why we do want to focus on the Crossout Designator is this deck really crumbles under 2 cards in particular. It's going to be the Max C and it's going to be the Nibiru. So we are running both of these just so we have as many targets as possible for our Crossout Designator. Besides that, relatively simple package, nothing incredibly crazy. We do have the triple Blue Tank. We do only run 2 Pasculus with the triple Seahorse, and we have the 1 Mandarin. That's pretty much it monster-wise for our Marincess core. You don't need too much, or you don't need that much less. We do have the Searches, of course, because you do need Marincess cards in your hand in order to actually play the game, unfortunately. So yes, we do have the triple Signet Mining. And those were the highlights for my bracket run for the Duelist Cup. Overall, I thought this event was a lot of fun. There are definitely some problem cards they need to hit, and luckily they did, because again, this is post-ban list that we know. They hit a lot of the floodgates. Fantastic. I do think Flu is a bit of a concern with this upcoming format, so we'll definitely see how that works. Marincess Adventure, the deck can bounce back with Draco back, but besides that, I don't know. Flu is a very difficult matchup in my honest opinion. So anyway, yep, that's it. When the new support comes out, probably within a couple weeks, at a month at most, I'm definitely going to be doing a deck profile and showing everyone how to play the deck. I'm so excited. It's going to make Marincess so much better. It fixes almost all the problems with the deck. It's going to be great. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and bye!